Hello, everybody. It's Wednesday, this time in the morning in Romania, but at noon in Vietnam, we have a PentaBAR and we're going global. And for this session, we'll have our guest from Vietnam and on a very interesting subject, which is quality assurance centers of excellence. Every team works to make sure that products don't have annoying bugs or frustrating issues. Even myself as a coach and trainer, I'm pretty concerned about that whenever I'm working with teams in the IT sector and we're trying to make very, very good products. And this center of excellence for the quality assurance can help promote quality at a higher level than normal. Unlike the typical QA team, the QA CoE, as we will hear us talking about, creates a group of testing specialists and technical testing components that can be used to leverage testing knowledge. So this will work around technology, methodology, processes, tools, and resources across projects and increase the efficiency of the testing efforts. For that, we'll address some points and maybe we'll get a common knowledge of raising the quality bar. What is the Quality Assurance Center of Excellence and what are the differences from a normal QA team? The structure of such a center, features and benefits, and what are the challenges in establishing one? And when we're talking about the reasons to choose for the QA CoE to evolve, we'll address that also. And for this, we have with us Yogesh Fookeer. If I'm not pronouncing badly the name, hey there, Yo. How are you?
Hello, Mihai. It's a great pleasure for me to be on the PentaBAR today.
Yo,
And I'm very excited. Actually, my name is Yogesh Fookeer.
yeah. So Yo, as we'll call you just for the simplicity, is a QA expert and test automation specialist with more than 10 years of experience. He works as QA specialist and product owner in Pentalog, Vietnam, and his career has revolved around some global companies such as Prodigious, Ceridian, and Accenture, as well as collaboration in well-known companies like ASDA, L'Oreal, and Coca-Cola. And he is passionate about the new technologies and new ways of doing software testing, and especially when it comes to AI in this testing automation field. So there's a good day in Vietnam now?
Actually, with the COVID everywhere, we have to stay safe and take all the sanitary precautions. But the weather is good, very sunny, very hot.
Okay, I cannot wait to come over and visit a bit and hope the frontiers will be open. So
yeah, it's a beautiful country here.
Tell us, why do we even talk about this subject? I mean, why this is so important for the QA specialists and QA teams?
Actually, nowadays, Mihai, we hear a lot of complaints and very like some feedback from the QAs who are constantly under pressure, and like the testing time, they cannot compromise on, they have to compromise on the quality sometimes of the software. So a QA CoE, it helps to avoid these kind of situations and also help us to boost the effectiveness in terms of quality of the product and the software.
Okay. And how did you get passionate about this? I mean, how did you get into building a center of excellence, and what's your story around it?
Actually, I started like a manual tester before, and little by little, I have built in competencies. I upskilled myself, and I moved toward test automation and performance test also. And then later on, many like the market demands we should have more skilled experts, not only manual testing who do the documentation and test software, but also experts who are very skilled at test automation in order to reduce the repetitive tasks so we can automate it to make it faster in order to deliver products on a timely manner.
And let's dig in a bit into the subject. So if we're talking about QA center of excellence, what is such a center, and maybe then we address the differences between a normal QA team.
Actually, the center of excellence is mostly like a framework where the testing quality assurance is maintained as a centralized service, and
Okay.
it is shared across the organization. It is not only like a team assigned to a project, but it is more like an organization level.
Okay. So there is also culture around it, as I hear it. It's like the shared service
Yes.
that some companies are doing, but this is for quality assurance, and they serve all services, and there is a culture around it.
Like, for example, one of the framework which most software companies are using today is agile framework, like the agile methodology and Scrum framework. So the QA/COE also is a bit similar to it, but it is more focused on the quality assurance side.
And what may be the differences with a normal QA team?
Actually, there are various differences. So what I will do, I will share my screen.
Okay.
I have some differences. Okay, is it visible now?
Yeah. If you can help us by making it full screen also. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so firstly, one of the difference is like the QA goal. Like in a traditional QA team, it is more focused towards the project goals rather than the organization goal. So one tester, one QA who is involved in that such of team, they more focus about that project and they report to an individual. For example, the project manager or the test lead on that project. But for a QA/COE, it is more aligned towards the organization goal. Like they have some practices, some processes which they follow, and they report only to the QA/COE leader. And it is mostly like a team. And secondly, you will see like finding QA resources with the desired technical domain skills. It is not easy in a QA team because it is limited, like there is limited cross-project visibility. Like you cannot move one resource to another project easy. So that QA resource, it is not being utilized to its optimal capacity actually.
Yeah.
But whereas in a QA/COE, the testing resources, they are organized based on their line of technology, based on their skills, based on their skill sets, what type of technology they master. Do they master test automation, performance testing, manual testing, and also which line of business they have the skills? Do they have like the financial or banking skills, or pharmaceutical or medical or marketing? So based on their skills, they are properly deployed across projects.
Okay.
And also, when we talk about quality, we talk about budget, because most organizations, most companies, they don't want to spend money or big budget on the testing part.
Yeah.
They are more focused on the product itself. So they prefer to invest money in the development side of the product rather than the testing side. Because for them, when a developer is coding, they should ensure like the quality and the testing, the unit testing is done properly and no bugs is present, which is nearly impossible.
Yeah.
So that's why we have a QA department who is responsible for the quality to ensure that software like the product is being delivered to the end users without bugs.
This is, I imagine the center as, I mean, being more of a separate entity, there's also power, bargaining power on what's needed in the testing itself. It's my intuitive feeling telling me that they have some independence from the developers that lead there, and it's like a sort of internal, but like an external body from the team that is having an opinion on your product.
Exactly, like the QA/COE, it is mostly like an independent body which is responsible only for the quality assurance side, the quality of the product, rather than the development of the product.
Okay.
And one of the key features is like transparency on the QA process, because on the traditional QA team, there is not enough tracking, like there is not efficient tracking of how much the organization has invested in testing and how much return it has generated. Whereas for the QA/COE, they have introduced like metric-based tracking, which measures the success of the QA process in terms of test coverage, test effort, resources, defect tracking, and test effectiveness. And this result in like visibility on the return of investment of the testing.
I imagine there's also a problem of expertise. So, he's standing up to date. I see you have a last point there.
Yes, because actually a QA/COE, it regroup all type of QA experts, whether it is test automation engineers, performance test engineers, security test engineers. So all these capabilities and skill sets are being like regrouped under one body. And this team, they keep doing some research about latest technologies, latest tools which can be used to test on new platforms, on latest technologies.
So, as I hear it, it's also a philosophy and a culture behind it. So, as I'm looking at it, and maybe I do the correlation with other organizations. Sometimes they believe that there should be a process where all the process you have responsibility on the chain, or you have disposed that optimize resources, and they're doing that. So you have experience in both. What may be a structure of a QA/COE, and if you can share maybe the screen.
Okay, so this is like the QA/COE structure and process. Actually, we do have a core team, which consists mainly of test managers, test architects, test methodologists, technical test engineers, SMEs, and the QA/COE coordinators. So basically, this is a core team of the QA/COE. And for example, the test manager, like its role is mainly to manage the human resource and the budget. And he ensures that the testing methodology is being used across projects.
Okay.
And also, he's the one who is responsible to communicate the testing issues, the testing progress, the deadline, and the reporting everything to stakeholders and project managers. Then we have the test architects. Test architects, they are mainly responsible for selecting and integrating the appropriate set of tools. So whether it is like we have a new product, like a new project on, let's say it is a web application, so they will they will see what type of tools which will be more appropriate to be used for that type of project, whether it should be on the automation side, whether it is about the test management, the bug reporting. So they are the one who are responsible to like for the selection of these tools.
Mm-hmm.
Then
And
we have like yes.
And I just wanted to put some brackets here and really invite everyone to put questions if you have it. So from this stage on, we'll prioritize your questions if you're looking at this. If you have experience, maybe if you are asking, what's this about? How can we build such a center ourselves? What is are the roles changing? So we'll continue, but we'll take the public's presentation questions first, and we'll present upon them. So go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. So when we have the test methodologies, methodologies, they are the one who are responsible for the process, like the procedures, like they are the one who make the templates which support effective test design and testing. So they are the one who will provide the the templates, the process, the documentation related to past projects. So they are the one who are responsible for this part. Then we have the technical test engineers.
Yeah.
So as the title itself, it says they are more technical people. Like they are like test automators, performance testers, security testers. So their role are basically to design and build like the tools, and also they are responsible for the testing and deployment of the effective automation test automation solutions. And one key role here for them is to train the end users of these tools.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the SMEs. The SMEs, they are like the system matter experts. They act as liaison with the client as QA/CoE experts to ensure that the business being tested is clearly understood, and they get all the requirements and they convert these business requirements to testing requirements.
Mm-hmm.
Then
I was
for
just
yes.
wondering how this may happen. So stay close to the project and the requirements of the project, and I mean, really understand in depth what's needed to be done there.
Yes, this is basically the role. They should be like expert on the product side. Like they get the requirements from the product owner who is on the client side, and they convert these business requirements, these technical requirements into a more testable format.
Okay.
Because very often you will see like a business requirement or a software requirement is very lots of theoretical things in it. It's very bulky also. So
I'm just wondering from your experience, what's a good career path from a subject matter expert? So, what's at the base, and how do you become such a subject matter expert?
for an SME, actually, you should have the experience on the product, like hands-on on the product. So normally it should be someone who has worked quite some time on the project and
Mm-hmm.
who has business knowledge also. And
Okay.
then with experience, they will know what the user needs,
Yeah.
what are the end user needs, and they can put themselves in the shoes of the users and create better test requirement for the test team.
And what would best help them to, or how would they do in the team to really translate that into testable requirements?
Um, Actually, the business requirement, it is in a more in a format where many things are not really testable. For example, if I tell you the application must be very fast,
Yeah,
so how can, from a tester point of view, how can I test if the application is fast?
yeah,
Because there is no metric, there is nothing to measure it.
yeah.
So the role of the SME here will be like to ask question. So what fast mean? Should
Mm,
it be like the response time should be 5 millisecond, 10 millisecond? What is the threshold? Like these things.
mhm,
Then the requirement become testable, and the tester can test it.
Okay, okay. So I cannot become a subject matter expert. I'm good in business. I can understand product, but if I enter a bit on the technical side, then I need the support of the team to really understand what does fast mean. Very crystal clear now. So what else should be in such a team?
Then we have the QA, the coordinators. The coordinators, they are the one who make the links between the pool of testers and the quality assurance team responsible on the client side, like the product owner. They are the one who liaise with the client,
Mhm.
and they are the one who share the project resources. They manage the reusable business components of the, like the test plan, the test cases, the test data, the scripts. So what they do, they collect these information from testers, and then they escalate it to the testing knowledge and technologies here. So all these information about the test plan, the test cases, all these are being saved and recorded somewhere for future projects. For example, here, let's say we have a project in banking,
Yeah,
and like we already have the test cases, the test plans, the test data, the schedule, the scripts, etc. So what they do is they take it and they archive it somewhere in the QA/COE for future reference. So
yeah,
that, let's say, in the future we have a project related to the same type of business, same type of technology. So they can reference to it and take it as lesson learned, or how to, like a baseline at least. It will not be like creating from scratch.
mhm. And now as a trainer and a coach, I know how much that's important, documenting the knowledge. And as a former manager, I had this obsession of having all things documented. So for whoever comes in the team, if they read through that and if they want to know it and learn, they could do so. And it's not kept on a project and never documented. So as I know that attrition is a problem in the IT world, I think this, I mean, keeping the expertise and growing the knowledge and constantly learning, I think that's hugely important for the team, and this is actually providing that.
And one thing which is more interesting here, Mihai,
Yeah.
is these roles I have explained here. They are not like, it is not a resource. It
Hmm.
is a role. So we can have like someone can be a test architect, but at the same time he can be a technical engineer.
Okay.
So it is not like we are having a specific person working as this role. And this person here, for example, let's say we have Jim, who is a test architect. So he can be a test architect here in the
Yeah.
QA/COE. At the same time, he can be like a test automation engineer,
Yeah.
and he can be a tester who is assigned to a project also.
Yeah. Okay. I really like that because in what I did as an organizational design, if I'm thinking of it, for me a job description is formed of several roles that you play in several processes. So as you're saying, you're actually playing the role of a test architect, then playing the role of the technical engineer, and then a tester to some point. And all those have some quotas, have some percentage of my time. And actually, I have a broader expertise. And I have multiple. I don't stay in a process. I'm just a wheel there, and I think I actually like this.
And also they have a training part, like they create training materials so that the manual testers or any testers present in the CoE, they can learn new skills, new technologies, new testing tools, and later on they can even take more responsibilities. Like they can try to be a test architect or try to be a technical test engineer. It all depends on them. Because very often in the QA side, so someone may have, when they grow in the career path, they have two options. Either they grow on the management side or they grow on the technical side. So on the management side, they become more like test managers or someone who lead on the management side. But the technical side is mostly like you become a lead in the technical, for example, lead test automation engineer, principal performance test engineer, something like this.
Super. So let's maybe go forward and unshare the screen, and let's go through the benefits. And from this point, I will again open the questions to anyone in the audience if you are there, and maybe I'll play a bit the devil's advocate on this side. So I heard some people saying, but if they are in the project. And if they are close to the product and the project, they can better manage. And in the end, we want the responsibility to be in the developer side, and they have the overview of that. What might be some benefits on the having such a center?
Like one of the main benefit is that it standardizes testing processes throughout the organization, and everyone has a set of guidelines for test planning, test scripting, test execution, and this also facilitates the sharing of best practices, the lesson learned in the past, and automation opportunities, which leads to how to reduce the learning curve and eliminates chaos arising from various testing across projects.
And what's a good side? I mean, from what's a company size that you would advise a QA/CoE being actually built? I imagine this from a threshold of experience and time.
Basically, in order to set up a QA/CoE, it should be in big organization having many projects. Then you can really make use of its effectiveness, because one of the key part of the QA/CoE is cross utilization of resources across projects. So it is based on these things that we can really ensure like the optimal use of the resources across the teams. But if we have only a small team, like one project and a small team of QA, 4 or 5 QAs, which is required, then the QA/CoE will not really be efficient. In this case, but they can use some of the best practices of the QA/CoE.
Yeah.
But they will not be able to implement the QA/CoE structure itself, because it will cost like budget, budget wise, it will be huge. And also in terms of resources, they will need more experts, QA experts.
Mm-hmm.
So it will not be beneficial for small companies. This is applied mostly to big companies, big organizations where they have many projects, many clients, different platforms, and very tight deadlines,
Mm-hmm.
and a big team of QA, like 100 plus,
Mm-hmm.
50 plus, I would say.
Okay, okay, okay. So that's a good that's a good benchmark. I'm glad you're in Pentalog to do that and handle maybe projects across countries and domains and industries. And I know that's needed, and it's a hot subject on the agenda of Pentalog, as I know it from other Pentabars also. Which leads me to, if you want to see more Pentabars, my colleagues, I think they put into the comments a link where you can subscribe and see. We have Pentabars from very technical points with live coding Java wise, to discussions of product management and agile cultures in teams or organizations. And actually, you can choose what suits your learning. It's part of Pentalog's giving forward or paying it forward effort from their expertise, and maybe see how you fit with the information and maybe contribute to that. Going further, so, if we're talking about the features and benefits of such a center of excellence, um, I believe there's more firepower for test automation. Can you tell me more about that, or and what's the difference with the manual? And
Actually, the use of test automation is very common nowadays because um, like repetitive tasks keep on increasing, and someone testing it manually is very difficult. One example, let's say, Mihai, I tell you, you have a list of 1,000 users. I want you to log in with each one of the 1,000 users. Can you do it manually for me? How long will you take to log in, for example, your Facebook account with 1,000 different accounts?
that's a straight answer, yeah. So no, no way,
So
no way. I mean, even in my job, I've been lazy enough, in a smart way. So I don't do repetitive work if I can find smarter solutions for that.
yeah, so that's why many organizations, they are moving towards test automation, because with a simple script, this process can be automated and the results can be generated automatically also. And nowadays, test automation tools, they have evolved a lot. For one example, let's say we have a test automation tool, and one of the script, it tests the login, so or many others, other features. So what happened after the end of the execution? You can schedule the execution. You can schedule it at night or at some time when no one is working. So the execution will be triggered automatically, and after the execution, you can have a test report, which is again generated automatically. And it can also be emailed to anyone who should receive those information, for example, stakeholders, the test lead, or the project manager.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And also, it went even further. So if there is bugs which have been detected, a screenshot of the step where the bug has been detected is taken, and this also, it can be sent by email to the developers who is responsible for this part of the application.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well,
So test automation is making everything easy and fast, and That's why many organization is moving towards test automation.
When we were talking about this, you said something about enhanced, manual testing, and that QA CoE is providing that. What's that about? Look, we have some highs from Songwood. Hi there. So, what's enhanced manual?
Actually, 3 years ago, I was called at a company to set up the QA theory. And the first reaction I got from one of their testers there was once the once the COE is set up, I will have no role here in the company. The company will not need me anymore. I will get fired. I'm only a manual tester. I don't know test automation. I don't know performance testing. I don't have these skills. I will be fired. But this is far from true. Actually, manual testers is very important. This role is very important because they are the one who build the test cases. They are the one who understand the product, who understand the system, and also the most important part, they are the one who interpret the result. Sometimes when you, like, for example, you detect a bug, like an automation system, it may detect it, raise it as a bug. But we still need that human part to interpret if is it a bug or not a bug. Or even if it is a bug, we need that human part um, to categorize the bug, like to categorize it like by the level of severity, the level of impact, and the priority for it to be fixed. So this part, the manual testers, they have to. This is a way where they can upskill themselves.
All righty. And let's imagine we had in the PentaBARs, I was telling about the subscription if you want to see more. So we had several unicorns in our PentaBARs, and we were talking about, as I know, Pentalog is working a lot with some in fintech, in some other industry that are scaling a lot nowadays. And there actually have those teams, the agile teams that are going plug-in to their processes and help them scale. And as I imagine, such a center is actually helping that to really scale fast or go into, if you outsource part of the testing, you can help scale ups go faster.
Exactly. Actually, one of the benefit of the QA CoE is also it caters for outsourcing QA. So let's say the workload is very big, and we need, like, the organization needs the help of consultants or from other companies or other type of QA service provider. So it's easy for them to connect to the QA/CoE and get the knowledge, because the QA/CoE will already have all the testing knowledge, all the product knowledge. So when you take the service of some external body, it is easy for the knowledge transfer, and also it is easy for them to get to speed, like they don't have to waste time to learn the product or to know which tools we will be using or which process we have to put in place, because everything is only in place. We will only need the outsourcing part, we only need the manpower to follow the instructions to implement it, because all the process is already in place.
So you were talking about, maybe higher maturity level in terms of quality assurance. What's that about?
Actually, when we talk about maturity, is like what is the next level? How
Yeah.
can we make the QACOE better? How we can improve it? Because with a constant, because technology, it keeps evolving every day. Every day we get a new something new, new technology, new principles. It keeps on moving. It is very fast growing field. So even the QACOE, whether it is on the technical part or even on the principal part, we have to keep evolving and learning new technologies, because very often we may have some applications which run on new platforms with new version of software, new version of plugins. So even the test automation tool, they have to keep up with that. Otherwise, if you create a script today on an environment, and maybe if after 3 months you run the same script on a newer version of the same application, it may not work. So what happened to all the work, all the time and resources which has been invested on this automation scripting? So in order not to lose it, we must have like a team who is responsible for the maintenance of these scripts.
That's quite interesting what you're saying. I will go on the devil's advocate side just in a minute, but I will also invite whoever is listening to complete the form of the feedback that my colleagues are sending there in the comments. It will help us, serve you with the right subjects and the right pentabars, and also keep track of what's happening and what you want more or less to learn from what we're doing here. So, what are the challenges though? So we talked about benefits. What might be the challenging in setting up a QA/QoE?
Actually, building the QACOE, like which is able to handle business orient critical projects, it's not quite easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very challenging task, but and also there is not a set of formula which can be applied to all projects, because all projects are not the same. They are very unique in their way. So it takes a lot of technical expertise, experience, the domain knowledge in order to build a highly capable QA center of excellence. So there are a few steps which should be considered when implementing the QA center of excellence. One of them is a commitment to quality and the goals, because it is essential for the QA/COE team to lay out clear and achievable goals and objectives.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't have like a clear goal and objectives, it will be very difficult in the long run to stay on the track and to gain perspective of the larger goals. So basically, one of the steps is to ensure like the goal is clearly visible. Then we should have reliable documentation, like every processes, every procedures, the principles, the the steps, everything should be recorded and documented.
Mm-hmm.
And the right tools, we should have like a group of tools like already been researched and prepared there, and end users also should already been trained how to use them. So this is ready. This should be ready.
So if you, I'm just thinking about, maybe the QA that are listening. From your experience, you've been in several companies, you worked with more QAs specialists. What are the trendy tools to use now? What do they prefer mostly?
Actually, the tools depend on the application which
Yeah.
has to be tested. So, so this is why the QA/COE like is very like prompt to these things. Like they react very fast.
Yeah.
Because let's say you have a web application tool, so running on, for example, Windows platform and on a set of browsers. So, for example, in the QA/COE, the technical team already know which tool which should be used for the test automation part, which tool should be used for the test management part and defect tracking. So, in this way, everything is ready. It's not now like when you get the project, now you have to do some research and do some analysis which tools should be used.
Hmm.
Like based on the past experience, they already know which tool should be used. For example, if it is a web application, we can use Selenium with, like, for example, even Selenium, they can use different coding language like Java or C Sharp. So all these things is already prepared beforehand.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
even on the test management level, whether the client, if they already have it like a project management tool, for example, Jira, so they want to keep Jira as their main project management tool, and but they also want to include the testing part in it. So our team, like the architects, the test architects, they should already know how to plug in the testing part of Jira and the bug reporting to Jira to make it like a centralized project management tool with the testing part, the user stories, everything there.
So thank you for mentioning that is not further than 1 week that we actually had a PentaBAR on Selenium versus Playwright. Very interesting testing there, but by another specialist in Pentalog. So if you wanted to subscribe in the PentaBAR, see that also. That was really wow, and see how Playwright is raising now the bar. And is going against Selenium. And if you want to see it, go there. Whoever is interested in this subject. So,
Actually, it is a very interesting subject. Actually, is a Selenium part and Playwright, and
yeah.
it is up to date because nowadays every test automators are very interested with Selenium and how to use it on different platforms to test different products.
So, just to prepare the closing down, if you have questions now at the end, this is the moment. I will just leave you with, two last questions to prepare for the end. So maybe you've put us QA/COE there. How might that evolve? What would make it go further?
Um, Actually, the QA Center of Excellence, it like have transformed quality assurance and the business around the globe
Yeah.
in tremendous way actually. But in order for it to evolve, we should like keep up to date with the technology because technology shift um, it happens very often,
Yeah.
and also testing bottlenecks that lead to understanding the performance issues because performance also is very important regarding the tools which is involved in the QA/COE. And like everything is moving towards agile today because many companies, many organizations, they are becoming agile. And for the COE to be able to keep pace with an agile environment, a Scrum framework, it is a big challenge because, like I already explained before at the beginning, the QA/COE it is an independent body,
Yeah.
an independent part. So in order to plug this to agile methodology and agile software development team, it is a big challenge because there is already like some practices in the Scrum, and in the QA/CoE they have some practices. Some may align, but there is some ways where they part ways. So we must see how we can like converge it towards the organization goal in the end.
That's actually a very interesting point because there are the processes, the agile processes, and we need to plug in there and have like sub teams, I imagine, in the QA CoE that will go into the rituals and be matricially part of those teams. And that can be an evolution of such a center. So, if you would let the people that are listening to us, some may want to evolve their career path, and you have the experience in several industries, and now you're seeing this happening in Pentalog. What would you advise QA specialists to do to advance their career? What would be your take?
First of all, it all depends on the individual. If a QA specialist will want to grow in the management part or whether on the technical side. So if the QA specialist is more interested with the technical side, like someone who is hands-on, like doing some scripting, some coding, learning new technologies every day, so they should mostly consider like test automation, test architect, test performance, like being exposed to test automation tools like Selenium. Like there are many open source test automation tools, and there are also licensed tools. So it all depends to them which in which test automation tools they want to evolve. And also in terms of performance testing, there are various tools, whether it is back-end testing, front-end testing, it all depends on them. And for those who are more interested towards management, so they can consider like becoming like a QA manager, or growing, becoming like an SME or even a BA, after gaining enough knowledge about the product and enough knowledge about the business requirements. So this is a way for them to evolve in their career.
Thank you, Yo, very, very much for this session. If you want to see other PentaBARs, please subscribe to the links that my colleagues are putting there. I hope you found this interesting. Don't forget to do the feedback form, and we'll come up with new interesting subjects. And do not forget that we have a special event through the PentaBAR series that is done by two JavaScript practitioners who will roll up their sleeves and share techniques and best practices, approaching a 2-hour demo you don't want to miss. We have Ken Wheeler, software engineer, as a guest speaker, and Alex Moldovan, co-founder of GS Heroes, together with Cornel Fătulescu, which we had here in the PentaBARs, the chief platform officer of Pentalog. So, see you soon, Yo. Maybe in
Thank you.
This time. Thank you for this session, and see you all in the next PentaBARs. Have a great
Thank you, and stay safe.
Yeah, do that.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.